welcome to Rugby AM. Tonight we're out of the studio, Jonesy. Another change for Rugby AM. You've got to bear with it. We've listened to the fans and we've tried it in the radio studio. We're going back upstairs from next week, from May the 11th, back into the TV studio. It's been a bit of a journey, a bit of a learning curve. What's your thoughts, Jonesy?
I'm a chameleon, mate. I'm like a goldfish. I'll fit in anybody's tank. I ain't bothered. You can't be all things to all men, but if it pleases a few people to go back in studio, let's go do it. Do our best. It's a little bit harder. We can't get as much out of the players, I don't think, but I think we're looking for the polished rugby aim, aren't we? So why not start as we mean to go on?
We're trying to get a product fit for TV that anyone, anywhere in the world can watch. And it's about engaging not just the stars of the game, but people, new fans in the sport. And we want it to be polished, we want it to be right. As you see behind us, try time. We're down here at the Unslit Cup final, Leeds and Unslit Schools Cup final between Corpus Christi and Jones-Buchanan. I'm going to speak to their teachers in a little while about local rugby league and schools rugby league, see how it's going in schools, because obviously this week we've been all over talking to people at rugby league.
We have, mate, and this is what it's all about for me. Amateur rugby, the community game. I couldn't care less whether we're in a really posh studio or down in some dungeon somewhere, because at the end of the day, it's about coming out and showcasing personalities and the people that put time and effort into young kids and giving them the opportunity to be all that they can be. And I think, coming to schools finals like this is where it all starts for people like me, people like Danny Maguire, and all rugby league players all over the country, amateur and professional. So, I'm really happy that we're here. We're going to present some trophies after. It's just good to get out and see a good kids game.
We're going to take you off because Magic Weekend's coming up at the end of the month. The big one. Are you looking forward to Magic Weekend, Jones? You've got a tough game.
I am looking forward to Magic Weekend. It's where all the professional teams come together, and I'm particularly excited about the fact that it's at St James's Park. I love the North East. I think they love sport in general. Rugby league's not really been planted there for me, I don't think, but this is a good opportunity for us to showcase the greatest game in the world. We've spoken to people like Alan Shearer. We know about people like Chris Foreman, who's a proverbial proof in the pudding that we can get rugby league players out of the North East. And obviously Stanley Jean's team, Newcastle Thunder, partnering up with Falcons. Newcastle Falcons just goes to show that rugby's rugby. Union and League can come together on occasions, though we're here to support League. And secondly, just quickly, the darts night. Can't wait, mate. I've never had more fun than when I'm with amateur rugby league players. Yeah. I used to coach Stanley, coached them for about 5 or 6 years, and I know how balmy they are. And to get 16, 17, maybe even 20 amateur clubs there on the night, all carrying on, all playing for their clubs against professional rugby league players and darts players. I myself done it. I beat Barneveld, one of my claims to fame. Wow. I've done it through double four. Matt Diskin's testimonial.
Double four.
And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again this time round as well. I'm looking forward to it.
Right, well, our biggest interview this year, I'm going to play it again right now, is with my... Just look how much I love... I'm looking at him with pure love. This is Rugby AM meets Alan Shearer.
Just wait for Alex Simmons to manhandle Alan Shearer. Alan Shearer, right, goes in front of some of the best interviewers in the world, who we're all really polite. Simo, go, hey, my mate.
Shearer. Right, this is when we met Alan Shearer and talked to him about the Magic Weekend coming up at the end of the month. Right, I'm actually in awe today. Live on Rugby AM, coming down to BBC, to meet actually my hero, Mr. Alan Shearer. Alan, how are you?
I'm great, thanks for coming, thank you.
No, thank you for your time, mate. For years, as a young lad growing up in Leeds, running across the weather pitch, pointing towards the Skelton Woods going, Shearer! Pretending I scored a goal like you. You were honestly one of my idols growing up. And my first question for you today, Alan, is who was your idol growing up?
Well, my first question is, I'm not that old, am I? My idol was Kevin Keegan. I was, 12 or 13 when he signed for Newcastle as a player, and used to go along and watch him. And of course, then he was the manager there and the manager of England. So yeah, he was my hero.
Well, I've had a tough paper round, mate, so that answers your question. Now, Rugby League, we're coming down here today from Rugby AM, has come together with your home city, Newcastle, as we've got the Magic Weekend heading up to St James's Park this year. Now, Newcastle as a city and Rugby League has already come together, football rugby, with the fantastic Bobby Robson Foundation and Widnes Vikings pulling the shirt together. And I thought I'd ask you, first and foremost, you knew Bobby Robson better than most people, so what did Bobby Robson mean to Newcastle as a city, and what kind of a bloke were he?
Well, he saved Newcastle when he took over Newcastle. They were at the bottom of the Premier League, and then within 2 or 3 years he took us from the bottom into Champions League. So he was a fantastic guy. He was a genius at man management. Everyone loved him, whether you were a 16 or 17-year-old kid or whether you were a 34, 35-year-old bloke who was very experienced. He knew how to handle you. He knew how to get the best out of you. So he was an incredible guy, yeah.
And the Bobby Robson Foundation does a load of great work as well as alongside your own foundation up north, giving a lot of opportunities for young people. One thing I do love as far as giving opportunities to young people, the advert on telly at the moment with yourself, visiting a young man, giving him your first scarf, giving him some tickets to a game, and it says about how you stepped out on the Gallagher for the first time and it was magical. But I wanted to ask you, as a player, what was your magic moment in front of the St James's Park crowd?
There was a few, as you can imagine, but I think probably the best and the proudest moment was when I was lucky enough to break Jackie Milburn's record. It's home to Portsmouth, it was, and ironically it was in front of the Gallagher end. I'd waited a few months for it to come along, so when that goal did come along, to stand there and hear the crowd, and it was one of those moments that I'll never ever forget, and very, very proud.
We've got about 100,000 fans hopefully coming for Rugby League up to St James's Park. I've been a DJ for many years, DJed in some of the finest establishment, from the Tuxedo Royal
remember it.
right the way through to Tuk Tuk Palace. Yeah. So I've seen every kind of walk of life in Newcastle. Great city, great people. But what can the Rugby League community expect from St James's Park as a venue, and also from the local Newcastle fans?
Well, first and foremost, I'm sure they'll turn up in their thousands, because, as you know, not only do they love football, but they love their sport. And as it is in St James's Park, I'm pretty sure that they'll all turn out and support it. Very, very passionate, very committed, and as you rightly say, they love a good time and they love a party. They love to work all week, but they love to have the weekend and party all weekend as well.
Mate, thank you very much for meeting me.
Cheers.
Absolute honour.
Thank you,
Mr. Alan Shearer.
Cheers.
Alan, like Alex, I'm overwhelmed to come and meet you. It's a real pleasure to be here. I've got a little bit of a different outlook to Alex. I like to learn about youth development, and one of the things that stood out for me when I was reading up a little bit about you was you was born in August, 13th of August, and all your young coaches, the testimonials that they talk about you, said that you was very mature for your age. And I find when I go back coaching young kids that the kids who were born at the latter end of the year, like me, on 1st of August, Yorkshire Day, sometimes get a little bit disillusioned, they're a little bit slower to develop, and they have them hard times. I just wondered, for you, somebody who's reached the top of their game internationally and domestically, what advice would you give to young people about persevering and living for your dreams?
Well, yeah, you're right, I was obviously born 13th of August. I never felt I was one of the youngest ones in my year for some reason. I think it was probably for my upbringing and my parents, the way they brought me up. As an example, when the Southampton scout came to me as a 13 or 14-year-old kid, I went to my parents and asked if I could go down on trial. Well, their answer was to him, well, go and ask him. He's old enough to make his own mind up. And that's the way they sort of brought me up. They sort of threw me out there to make my own decisions. And it was tough at times, but I think it stood me in good stead for who I was to become. So I never had any issues being born at that particular time. As I said, it was from where I was from and how they brought me up.
You seem to have a lot of tenacity, you have a big physical presence. People talk about you being a very powerful player, and you seem to have that determination as well. I don't know if you've ever watched Rugby Union or Rugby League. Have you ever wondered to yourself what it'd be like playing that game? Have you ever fancied a physical sport like that?
It's far too rough for me. No, it's I'm all right with football and tackles like that, but the thought of some 20-stone guy running towards me trying to take me out, no, I wouldn't fancy that at all. So I'm not that brave.
I think one of the reasons we ended up playing Rugby League was because we weren't good enough to play football. He's always fancied himself as a bit of a Ferdinand, obviously. I'm Andy Cole, you can be Alan Shearer, obviously. But I know your first junior club, I believe, was Wallsend. Yeah. And Chris Thorman is probably the most famous Geordie Rugby League player. He played NRL, played international, played for Huddersfield and coached Huddersfield now. And obviously he's a massive supporter of having the Magic Weekend at St James's Park and trying to encourage some of those young boys who maybe don't want to play football from Wallsend to come to the game. Now, would you encourage them to come and watch us play rugby league and have the magic weekend experience at St James's Park?
Absolutely. As I said earlier, I don't think they will need any encouragement to come and watch. One, it's at St James's Park, which they love anyway. Two, they love any sport and very passionate about any sport up in the northeast. And you're right with my first club being Wallsend, as it was many other players: Steve Bruce, Michael Carrick, Lee Clark, Steve Watson, Alan Thompson. So it was a hotbed for bringing young kids through. Used to love go there on a Thursday evening train and then play on a Sunday. And it was a great education for me. But yeah, as I said, football, rugby, tennis, golf, whatever it is in the northeast, they'll come out and support it. I'm absolutely sure of that.
Absolutely. Some of the things that stick in my mind, some of the stats: 260 goals, highest ever in Premiership. 11 hat-tricks, I do believe, scored in every debut, 3 for your first game, Southampton. One of the ones that stood out to me that made me laugh, I'm a bit of a car fan, and the 3,300 Escort that you bought back then, if you'd have kept that, it'd have been worth more than you paid for it, wouldn't it?
I think, yeah, that's what that was my very first car. I was signed my first pro contract when I was 17, nearly 18. I thought I was a multi-millionaire because I was on decent wages then, and my first car was a red Escort. The reg was, I think it was B993XHT. Still remember it to this day. So I thought it was a great car. It worked for me anyway.
I'm 33. I'm driving a £4,500 Volkswagen Transporter, so I'm not too far off your starting point. I'm really obviously impressed with the philanthropy as well. You know, you're giving back, you're providing opportunities with the Alan Shearer Foundation for young people of all ages and abilities to be all that they can be. And certainly in the North East, there's a great zeal, a great enthusiasm. And I just wanted to ask you, how is that going? Is that giving young people a chance to fulfil their potential?
It's gone fantastically well. I mean, to get the funding that we need is difficult, but again, go back to the people of the North East, very, very generous. It's just my way of trying to give something back. I was the lucky lad out of Newcastle. I got what I wanted. I achieved my dream to be a footballer. So to give that back to some of the disabled people of Newcastle means a lot to me. And yeah, it's gone incredibly well. We have a golf day. We have a ball every year, which we raise hundreds of thousands of pounds for. But it's a great centre to be involved in.
And last question, obviously Rugby M's quite new, it's just me and Alex, he's a DJ, I'm just a rugby player. We're trying our best to be journalists stroke TV men, and anybody who watches the show on a weekly basis will know we struggle at times. Have you got any advice for us as a top BBC pundit on how we can improve ourselves or what to keep working on?
So long as you don't model yourself on Martin Keown, you'll be alright.
So Alan, it's been an absolute pleasure, really appreciate your time, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Right, keep watching Rugby M here on Made Television. We're going to be speaking to these kids and presenting some trophies. We're also going to be speaking about the mental side of the game, Jonesy. Went down to the Euclid the other day.
We did, yeah, it's good. The psychological side. We spoke to Jason Everton, didn't we, about the psychology of the old players, and he kept going on about, they're a bit mental, we need to learn about the mentality, and old people are mental, and I think it suited him down at ground. But Mark Adomoulis, is that what you say? Adamoulis, I call him Adomoulis. Mark the Greek has been doing a lot of studying about the ins and outs of what child development means and how you improve kids from a young age, particularly when it comes to psychology, reaffirming, imagery, that kind of thing. And we learnt a few things ourselves. A lot of it I've experienced myself as well as a player, but if we can put that back into our under-19s coach and get our academy games as good as they can be, them internationally, domestically, we're going to have a better game.
Right, also going to got a magic weekend guide, so keep watching right here, Made Television, Rugby M.